Far beyond the misty mountains, hidden between silver rivers and whispering trees, stood a tiny magical place called Moonfern Village. Every night, glowing lanterns floated through the sky while thousands of golden fireflies danced through the streets like living stars. Warm cottage windows shimmered beneath the moonlight, and the entire village glowed with magic. At the edge of the village stood an old blue wooden house, surrounded by flowers and dancing fireflies. This was the home of Grandma Leela. Grandma Leela baked sweet cinnamon cookies, knitted warm, moon-shaped blankets, and told magical bedtime stories beside the fireplace. Arav, Mira, and little Kabir loved visiting her house every evening because it always felt filled with warmth and wonder. One special night, Moonfern Village was celebrating its biggest event of the year, the Firefly Festival. Music echoed through the streets, lanterns floated into the night sky, children laughed while chasing glowing fireflies between the cobblestone roads. Mira twirled happily beneath the floating lights. Arav proudly carried his glowing lantern, and little Kabir tried catching fireflies inside a tiny glass jar. Everything felt perfect, until suddenly, every firefly vanished at once. The glowing village turned dark. The music stopped. A freezing wind swept through the streets. And then, dong, dong, a giant bell echoed from deep inside the forest. The villagers froze in fear. Grandma Leela's face turned pale. She whispered softly, "It has returned." Arav looked confused. "Who returned, Grandma?" But Grandma Leela didn't answer. Instead, she quickly grabbed the children's hands and hurried them back to her house as thunder rolled across the sky. Outside, heavy rain began pouring from the clouds. Lightning flashed across the forest. The old wooden house creaked in the storm. Inside the house, Mira noticed something strange. Several glowing fireflies were trapped inside glass jars placed carefully on Grandma Leela's shelves. But the fireflies did not look peaceful. They flickered nervously, almost as if they were afraid. Kabir stepped backwards slowly. "Grandma, why are the fireflies hiding?" Grandma Leela's hands trembled. She looked toward the dark forest outside the window and whispered, "Because tonight the Shadow Keeper has returned." Suddenly, lightning flashed outside the house, and for one terrifying second, a giant shadow moved past the window. Mira gasped. Kabir dropped his lantern. The fireflies inside the jars flashed brighter and brighter. Then the forest bell echoed again, closer this time. Dong, dong. Grandma Leela took a deep breath and finally revealed the truth hidden for generations. Long ago, deep inside the forest stood the magical starroot tree. Every 100 years, the tree created golden fireflies filled with powerful light, capable of protecting Moonfern Village from darkness. But one night, a greedy traveler tried stealing the tree's magic for himself. The tree cursed him, and he became the Shadow Keeper, a giant creature made from living darkness. Ever since then, every 100 years, he returned searching for the magical fireflies. As Grandma Leela finished speaking, the ground outside suddenly trembled. Thud, thud, thud. Something enormous was walking toward the house. Arav slowly peeked through the window. Deep within the stormy darkness, two glowing white eyes stared directly at them. Kabir trembled with fear. Mira held Arav's arm tightly, and then something unbelievable happened. Every glass jar suddenly burst open. Hundreds of magical fireflies escaped into the room. Golden light filled the house. The fireflies circled around Arav, Mira, and Kabir like glowing stars. Then they formed a magical trail leading toward the forest. Grandma Leela whispered in shock, "The fireflies have chosen you." Suddenly, crash! The front door burst open. Cold wind roared through the room, and standing outside beneath the storm was the Shadow Keeper. His body was made from swirling black smoke and shadows. His glowing white eyes burned through the darkness. Kabir hid behind Grandma Leela. But then the Shadow Keeper spoke. His voice sounded deep and sad. "I do not want the light. I only want to see the stars again." The room fell silent. For a moment, nobody moved. Then little Mira stepped forward bravely. She gently opened her lantern. One by one, the magical fireflies floated inside it. Warm golden light spread across the room. Mira carefully held the glowing lantern toward the Shadow Keeper. Slowly, the darkness covering his body began disappearing. The swirling shadows faded away, and standing beneath the moonlight was not a monster, but a tired old traveler with tears in his eyes. At that exact moment, the storm clouds parted. Bright stars filled the night sky once again. Deep inside the forest, the starroot tree suddenly glowed brighter than ever before. Thousands of golden fireflies burst into the sky like magical stars. The curse was broken. Moonfern Village filled with light once more. The villagers watched in amazement as glowing fireflies danced through the night air again. And that night, Arav, Mira, Kabir, and Grandma Leela learned something very important. Sometimes the scariest monsters are only sad hearts waiting for kindness. From that day on, every year during the Firefly Festival, the family placed one glowing lantern beside the forest, so nobody would ever feel alone in the darkness again.